Alright, so I got a video to make to go ahead and clarify something to, ring a fire, because of them claiming the fact that Republicans are letting Biden win the 2024 election because of the fact that they're backing Trump, despite the factor that, he's polling worse in every aspect, he's polling better except for the aspect of compassion, where Nikki Haley is polling higher. And it seems like Nikki Haley is the one who'd be able to go ahead and beat Biden, but, it seems like people don't want that. And just being like, let him do it. Just gonna go ahead and clarify something, because, apparently you went to school for political science, but you're not reading the variables that are making people be in that mind frame. And you know what that is? All right, first off, the people that are backing Trump, the reason they're backing Trump is because they view him as a useful idiot that they could exploit. All right? So understand, if you have a family member or you yourself are backing Trump, go ahead and analyze your financial ulterior motives. All right? Because you're looking at him as a sucker that ultimately, because of, him viewing people as, easy marks as far as, to con them, that because he's so distracted with having to face the consequences of his actions, you see him as distracted, so opportunists can come in and just absolutely shake him the fuck down. Alright? So ultimately, the people that are backing Trump, the reason they're backing Trump is because they feel like there's more to bleed from him, despite the factor that that well has definitely ran dry. All right? But they don't know that. All right? Not to mention that, but the aspect that Nikki Haley is polling better in, as far as, the demographic of women and compassion. All right? Considering the factor that, us seeing what's going on when it comes to, Israel and Palestine, as well as seeing the whole situation when it comes to Ukraine and, Russia, all the propaganda going out, the threat of another forever war, which, for those of us that are, alive from my generation, I'm 35 years old. All right? Ultimately, our whole lives, there has been some form of war or another, some form of terrorist attack or another. Not even being able to go to school without having to do drills, of how to, get out of the back of the school bus, to school shooter drills, the beginning of mass shootings as far as school shootings go, people automatically going ahead and demonizing by, going and looking at, for example, how people dress to go ahead and determine if they're going to be that person that goes ahead and turns their, their colleagues or, their classmates into Swiss cheese. All right? And ultimately, as much as the news goes and talks about, yeah, we knew that person was going to do something along those lines. What never gets reported is the amount of people that quote unquote fit the description that do not end up acting in that way or choosing that fucking path, while at the same time other people antagonize that person to try to push them to the point of rage where they regret not doing that. Okay? So ultimately, those people see the worst of human nature. So when it comes to the aspect of compassion, all right, understand, yeah, there may be people that are backing Nikki Haley because they see her as the compassionate candidate, but compassion in threats of wartime is about as useful as going ahead and gathering every currency on the globe after an apocalypse ends up happening, and every financial sector ends up going ahead and shutting down. Yeah, ultimately it would be an impressive feat that you gathered all that, paper and all that, metal, and ultimately, Kid You would end up going ahead and viewing it as, yes, now I could get anything that I've ever wanted, everything that I've been told that I could not ever obtain. But at the same time, everyone's gone. Everything's gone. Everything's set at an expiration date. All those goods and materialistic possessions that you wanted, you can't use that currency to go ahead and obtain them. So, ultimately, what good is it that you spent all that time going ahead and gathering every one of those pieces of paper and every one of those pieces of metal, but you can't use them? Are you understanding my point? When it comes to the threat of another war, more military conflicts, more money going into the military-industrial complex, while literally you have an entire homeless crisis. You've got an entire party that ended up claiming about being pro-life, yet meantime, they're backing a genocide. And I'm talking about the Republican Party, alright? They claim to be pro-life, yet meantime, they view it as patriotic to go ahead and sacrifice their young, to, have the idealistic viewpoint of, we need to kill the people that we've othered. And not even the people that we've othered in the aspect of, the people that have actually done the wrongdoing. No, we need to kill the people that fall into the demographic of the people that have done the wrongdoing. So that way, if they've ever thought of doing the same wrongdoing that other people in their demographic have done, they'll think otherwise. Or even if they won't think otherwise, it won't matter because they're dead. So they'll never be able to do that. Are you seeing the logic here? Are you understanding the train of thought? Because, ultimately, understand, the younger generation are the ones who are like, yeah, we don't need another fucking war. If anything, we need to go ahead and help preserve, the opportunity to be able to live life more abundantly and be able to live with being able to have our own freedoms and not have to work to exist constantly. Some of us ended up having to work since kids, while our parents ended up going ahead and trying to dodge getting locked up for child labor laws because of the factor that they understood they were breaking the law, but they were just greedy as fuck. They were just self-indulgent. So, yeah, just understand. At this point, it really is a war of the generations, and the older generation, they know they're wrong. So at this point, they're trying to do what they can to be able to preserve, their personal power in the circumstance. Not because of the factor that they're stubborn, and they feel like ideologically, you need to align. No, at this point, they're acting with the self-preservation that they force the younger generation to have to live in their entire lives because of the factor that ultimately they understand they're at the end of the road, they're out of options, they have been so greedy and, self-indulgent, looking out for their own interest at the cost of the younger generation's future, that now they don't want to have to go into retirement homes. They don't want to end up having the decisions or the medical decisions when they have lost all grips of decision-making capability. Yet they don't want to have to go ahead and take the gamble despite their risk-taking capabilities throughout their whole lives, and showing, oh, there is no reward without risk. But they never calculated the risk of, spending their whole lives pissing off their youngers, the youngins, the younger generation, and then have to, at the end of it all, take the ultimate gamble. And that's if they're at the end of their life and on life support and not able to speak up for themselves, the younger generation that they poked, prodded, abused, and traumatized their entire lives and went and made their lives absolute fucking misery. That they're going to be the ones deciding, does the plug get pulled on that life support? And ultimately, I get to kill them without having any criminal repercussions, because ultimately there were so many times throughout the years that because of their absolute callous abuse and trauma that they inflicted on me, that I wanted to straight up murder them, but decided I did not want to go to prison for murdering them. But now I have my opportunity to murder them with cause, but not have to face criminal liability for killing them. They didn't think it through, and now they are facing the consequences of their actions, while at the same time, after a lifetime of preaching accountability, now are doing everything that they can to run from accountability and showing how much cowardice pussies they are.